William Kabogo is still with us in the studio. CT has the same proverb. Today's proverb is from Zanzibar.
Yes, it is.
And for the whole of this week.
Yes.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo.
To those who may not understand the Kiswahili language, better to lose your eyes than your soul.
Better to lose your eyes than your soul.
You know what came to my mind?
Right.
As I look at this proverb, there's a certain biblical verse. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world?
But lose your soul.
Yes. That's what came to mind. Okay, you've gained the whole world and then?
You've lost your soul.
Yes. Your soul is what takes you to eternity. So if it's gone, what do you think is going to happen to you? Ponder.
But sort of goes into what William is saying this morning. You know, we have leaders and politicians in the country who are not thinking about the people. They're thinking so much about themselves and for themselves that what they're doing is about them. Such a person has lost their soul. Such a person who is sitting down and, for example, promising that a bridge called Enzio that goes to Nu in Ukambani in Mwingi, where 32 people died. They were swept away by floods because the bridge was incomplete. And a leader comes and says, we shall complete this bridge in 3 months' time. That was in December 2021. We are in October 2023. That bridge is still incomplete.
And it has been incomplete for over a decade.
Yeah.
And money has been allocated within that time for it to have been completed several times.
Yes.
You know, so many things go wrong. And instead of us dealing with learning from things that go wrong, we forget very quickly, as Raila would say, kamangiri. You know that kamanyama? Called ngiri.
Yeah.
It forgets very quickly. You chase it, it does like 12 steps,
Stop.
and starts chewing grass again.
Yeah.
This is how we are. We do not learn. We do not learn.
Same thing.
Number one, someone came up with a brilliant idea a few years ago. I think it was in the 9th Parliament when CDF was started. And that was a brilliant idea to take money to the constituency for constituency development.
Yes.
Then come 2010, we have a new Katiba
Yeah.
that creates devolution.
Yeah. That takes
Devolved
money.
units,
It takes money to the
which are
grassroots.
supposed to devolve even to the village.
Yes.
Now, having done that, a very good thing for Katiba devolution is the best thing that has ever happened to this country, I think. Then why retain CDF? You understand? And it is retained because of coercion. These guys are the ones who are responsible in passing laws, passing budgets, etc., everything.
Yeah.
You deny them CDF, they deal with you. So why then do we have devolution? Why don't we just retain CDF? Parliament is the place that oversights the executive.
Yeah.
Who will oversight
Or should
the
oversight the
expenditure
executive.
of CDF?
But is that
Tell me which auditor would go to Parliament in any committee and sit there and tell them you guys stole. They will deal with you.
But William, we cannot run away from the fact that members of parliament today, obviously, you take in a position whereby you are beholden to the executive. So can you really see a situation where parliament will really, perform its role of representation, of oversight, of legislating, if your first allegiance is to the executive? We hear it all the time. And how do we work through a system which unfortunately has been bastardized because of that allegiance?
If the system could work the way it's designed, such that every penny spent by the executive is oversighted by Parliament, the ideal situation, that's the ideal situation,
Yeah.
then things would flow. We would not have the issues of this big, golden bag, and all these things. They would never have happened. But they happened because Parliament was in bed with the executive. And this repeats every 5 years. The new government comes, it goes to bed with Parliament. There is no way then things will happen in the ideological way, the way they are supposed to happen, if this bad business continues.
But this is
you understand what I'm saying?
I think this is the thing that really...
it's just the obvious.
Okay, so it happens and we can see it. I mean, it's clear as day. It happens. We know it's happening, but still we cannot seem to get out of this thicket.
You know, when I was
the horns
governor,
are still stuck in the thicket.
When
and
I was
why?
governor in Kiambu, I really didn't give a damn about the assembly, what they said or thought about me. I did my work. I did my work. And I did it in a manner that if I am taken to any test in terms of accountability, I will pass that test. I'm the only governor who never took those guys to Naivasha for some seminar, bonding, and I don't know what
It's called
it is.
benchmarking.
Benchmarking.
But were you accountable to the assembly?
I was accountable. My ministers went to those committees 100 times. I went to the Senate many times, and I told the Senate, if any time you invite a governor, it does not come, they fail to come for one reason or the other. Kiambu is just next door, call us. I did a 3-year audit, queries with the Senate. So it is possible it is very possible that things can be done the way they're designed to work.
So they're not done because...
Because we decide not to. We decide not to. If I'm president, why would I have the business of calling Bunge to fast track my bills? They should know what to do with the bills. Where is public participation in all these bills? You understand what I'm saying? So who is sleeping on the job? Is it the president or is it these people? These are the people you elected. So face the music. Eat with them because they are eating your jasho.
We remove them, we bring in other people.
It is the same
thing that happens.
It is a cycle.
It's a mindset.
Yes.
Just the same thing we're saying. So minus remove CDF,
Yes.
which has direct input of member of parliament. Go into road projects. Okay, I know we are going to have a whole conversation about whether roads should be
Right.
which ones should be devolved or not. But let's go with the ones that are not devolved. All right, road projects. MPs have no say on those. But you know how MPs are roped in? They're the contractors. So even when it comes to oversighting how much money has actually gone into infrastructure projects in this country, it's the same story.
So why would you have tarmac put on in January and in the month of May it has
It
potholes
rains in March.
everywhere?
The entire tarmac is gone. And
So
that's
our
it.
entire system is broken.
Yes.
This is a problem. How will we deal with it?
But people don't... Look, the system doesn't break itself. People break it. It's people who operationalize these things. It's individuals. And I think that's where the thing is.
You know,
is it really just a system of bad manners and that people cannot just behave themselves when they've been given a position of authority and leadership?
You know, in Kiambu, after I left, they started saying Kabogo. You know, Afadhali Kabogo. And that was the song for 5 years. And when we started doing campaigns, I was at 90 for a new term. 90%, all polls, 75 and above. So finally, what happened?
Who did you offend?
What happened?
We're talking about 2022.
2017.
2017.
Yes.
I've raised the
They
question.
made sure
Who did you offend?
I was not going to be on the ballot with the Popular Party.
My question, who did you offend?
Those that do not want to see good things. Things being done the way they should. You know, there's a big difference, very big difference between doing things right and doing the right things.
So why was it difficult to convince the people?
It is
Because
not the people. I'm saying here, it's not the people.
It should have mattered what
I am
party
telling you,
you're on.
it was in Jubilee headquarters. That's where it was decided.
You're an incumbent.
You remember that night where we got Waititu in a secondary school
Yes.
with ballot boxes everywhere. And nothing happened. We cried and shouted at the top of the hills that they should come and check. They said, no business.
Kubali bana.
But you know, William,
I was talking about doing things right
Yes.
yes,
and doing the right things.
yes. You see,
Like
the-
now, City, if I make you a cup of tea,
Yes.
you will love it. I'll do it the coast way. Ile ya kuchemsha maji na maziwa mingi,
Yes.
na kuchemsha chai na kuja juu inarudi
majani.
chini, na kuja juu inachemka mara mingi na sukari kidogo. Make you very good tea. But are you telling me because I make good tea, I should now become a cook of making chai in kiosks?
Let me put this thing.
That is doing it right. But is it the right thing? It is better to do the right things than doing things right.
There is a cost to it in this country. You see, William, let me speak as somebody who has known you for a while. And you're right to say you're not a politician.
Yes.
Politicians don't usually speak their minds. You do. And you've said on
And that's why I get into trouble.
precisely, and you said a number of occasions you didn't give a damn about things. You generally don't give a damn. Now that, in any political system, is bound to get you into a lot of trouble. Now, if you then make the mistake of actually doing what you're supposed to do, you see, you shine a terrible light on other people.
True.
When you have a situation where incompetence is currency, and you do the complete opposite, you cannot expect to be popular or to be liked. You will not be liked.
You know, Latif, I remember one day. I remember one day. The president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, as he was then, he comes to Kiambu hospital and I tell him, you know, this business is easy. We just got to do things the way they should be done. I want you to give us a letter of comfort as a county. I have a plan with some Indian hospital to come help us build a level 7 hospital in Kiambu. We don't want your money. We just want a letter of comfort to tell those guys that we have the capacity to pay, because I'll prove to you we have the capacity. And I told him, you know, Kiambu Hospital is right in the middle of town, in Kiambu town, sitting on about 14 acres. Movement in and out of the hospital is a problem because of traffic, because of traders, market, you know, all these things. And I told him, we can get 20 acres somewhere in the coffee farms near Kiambu town. And this is an arrangement we have with a big land buying company. Donate 20 acres, and in return, this is what the country will do for you. Give us a letter of comfort and allow us. My intention was, we get India and ourselves to build the hospital. It was going to cost 2.8 to 2.9 billion shillings.
Not 8. We have seen others cost
No,
8.
it was going to cost us
Okay.
real money. Done at a very professional level. So he asked me, how will you cover the expenditure? I said, you know, this 14 acres in Kiambu city, in town, that belongs to the hospital, is potential land for development. Nairobi is going to join Kiambu in a very short time, as it is today. Nairobi and Kiambu are almost one and the same. We will float this land to potential developers. They will buy a quarter acre for 100 million shillings. In 14 acres, how many quarters are there? 14 by 4.
Lots of money, man.
So we were going to collect almost 7 billion. And all we needed to do at the end of 2 years was move patients in ambulances to a new hospital and release this land. He said, oh, sure, very nice. Very nice. He called Henry.
Rotich.
Said,
CS Treasury.
this is a brilliant idea. Let's support. You know, I went to Treasury like 100 times.
You're still waiting for the letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Next thing I tell Uhuru, I have looked at how we can develop roads in this country, and the money we have, it's impossible. It will never happen. With 1 billion shillings for development, the rest is recurrent, we will never make it. What do you want, Kabogo? I said, I want you to support me. I've got Chinese friends who are willing to bring in money here. They do our roads, major roads. on concession for 10 years. They will collect road toll and we shall share county government with the developer for 10 years. Do you know what he told me? Don't ask me why I didn't say that. Same reasons I will not say a lot. Kabogo, if you do that, and we haven't put road tolls in Thika Superhighway, you will make us look like we are not working.
Was that not true?
I'm following what you just said a few minutes ago. When you do things the way they should be done and others don't, then you're in trouble. Where would we be today if those things had happened? You know, we are crying all the time, disbursements, money from state, money from exchequer to counties. Some counties like Kiambu and Nairobi,
William, your idea
can finance themselves.
Your idea didn't go to waste.
They should finance themselves.
They should.
They should, yes.
Ideally,
no
they
way.
should. Yes.
With a budget of 43 billion shillings, Nairobi, and collections of reportedly 11 billion shillings, they should be able to collect the 40 billion shillings.
They should
But how
be
do you
Their
pay lawyers?
potential is
How do you
60
pay
billion
lawyers
shillings.
20 billion? How do you pay lawyers 20 billion for what? You understand? When I got into office and I saw these bills of lawyers for old county councils, kajos, I stopped. We didn't hire a lawyer 1 month, 1 day in the whole 4.5 years. We got in-house lawyers, and those are the ones we used. Again, there's something called, it is better to have a bad settlement than a good case. Better to have a bad settlement than a good case. So I tried to sort out all those pending cases by negotiating and dealing with those issues amicably to get out of court. Because you will continue paying lawyers.
Yeah.
You will continue paying lawyers.
Like
you see,
said.
now there's an issue in Nairobi about paying pending bills for legal firms.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're huge, huge amounts.
20 billion going to
Law firms.
law firms as opposed to roads and bridges and things like that.
And it's for cases that are not necessarily won.
No. Some of them are not even cases. They appeared once,
It's
there's
just
a dispute,
appearance.
but there's appeal.
Your idea of the roads did not go to waste, William. We have the
We have
we
expressed.
have the expressway. It was understood.
Yes.
It was understood and was implemented.
To go to the airport.
And still
to
you
go
don't
to
have tolls on Thika Road.
to go to the airport before the expressway for a flight of 9 o'clock in the morning, you had to leave home by 4.
In the morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you would need to be there at 7
You need to
a.m.
be there 2 hours before the flight, and you need 3 hours to drive. A guy who left Mombasa for Joburg would get to Joburg before you get to the airport from Nairobi.
But
You just called me and said we can move forward there. And I said I'll be there 8:20. I was here 8:04 because I just turned around. I went to Museum Hill and again onto the expressway.
That's it.
And I was here in 15 minutes. So regardless of whose road it is working. Yes, it is working. If we had 10 expressways, look at Thika Highway.
You decongest it completely.
Thika Highway has got Githurai roundabout.
Yes.
It's got GSU Radio. It's got Kenyatta Road with intersections.
Yeah.
The jam that is there,
It's profound.
and it's a superhighway. It had spaghetti junctions, but they never happened because people had to make quick kills. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's the way. That's the Kenyan way.
You see, it doesn't have to be the Kenyan way because it wasn't always the Kenyan way.
True, but we made it a Kenyan way.
We did, because if you recall President Kibaki's first term, the time when he was clearly unwell, there were people in his government who sought to make the quick buck.
Correct, and they did.
The fundamental difference is that they paid.
Yes.
They did not stay in those positions.
When he came out of the situation he was in,
Yes.
they all left.
Yes. Which means he set the example. You know, you talk of leadership. My assistant Do here was talking about something which is actually true because we've discussed it on many occasions here. But You have reflected on this thing about us, the leaders we elect. Is it that we've been so beaten by our circumstances and the prevailing political culture that we've lost the will to actually stand up and say, this is wrong? Or we've adopted a coping mechanism that we simply go with the flow, and if there's harm to us, we adjust to that harm. So
Like now, the next election,
yes,
most Kenyans will not go and vote. Why? They always say, hata tukipiga, ni wale wale, ni hivyo hivyo.
and this
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But is
They vote on the 25th of December some year. They will vote again 5 years later. They will complain for those 5 years, but go and vote again. They complained to Kiambu after Kabogo for 5 years. They went and voted. They complained again. We went to elections in 2022. They still voted.
Why do you think?
That is the cycle.
That's
It
the
is
thing.
us. That's who we are, Kenyans.
Is it that we do not see? Because, like you're saying, if indeed by a certain time you are very popular, and then come election day, something happens at a party headquarters and you don't get the popular party's ticket. But still, it's not about the party. You're not new to the constituents of Kiambu County.
True.
They know you. You are the incumbent governor. Why would they not vote for you?
Remember that our system is such that
Even after the chaos that they go through, hold on.
from your region,
They go through the pain of their choice. Let's even say
Yes.
that it was their choice. They go through the pain of their choice. 5 years later, after transacting with 2 governors in 5 years, you're still on the ballot.
It is never about a good candidate. Never.
What's it
If,
about?
for example, your region is producing a president, like it was then, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter.
It's the party of the
It is
presidential
the party,
candidates.
it is that body that takes the day. It sweeps. Sometimes you may beat the wave. I did beat the wave in 2002.
Yeah.
Mwenge was sweeping the whole country. And I managed to go through with a small party that is not known, Sisi kwa Sisi.
Yes.
At that point, it was never about
NAC.
what
of
is
the party.
happening in NAC and everything. This is what people wanted.
Yes.
Again in 2013, they tried to drop me. The same Uhuru Kenyatta that I was working with.
TNA.
Do you remember TNA? They gave this fellow, Nyoro, a ticket with NAC,
Yes.
Mamangilu's party.
Yes.
And they put a billboard at Muthaiga. Nyoro with Uhuru.
Yeah.
Uhuru is the TNA presidential candidate. I was the TNA gubernatorial candidate.
Yes.
But this is another party. I took them to court. You understand? And I said, this is wrong. You can't. It's an election offense. When in court, do you know who came? Who came as a lawyer for Nyoro? Rigeru, who is Uhuru Kenyatta's lawyer. This is how things are done in this country. But that's it's fate.
But
You understand?
as I hear you about the party in the region, in that same election, in Nyeri, they picked a governor who was not on TNA.
Yes, but what was the under deals?
late Gachagua.
What were the deals?
Right?
That
But they voted overwhelmingly for the TNA presidential candidate.
yes.
In 2017, again, they picked a governor who was not Jubilee.
That
Even
is in
after-
Laikipia.
Hapa hii Nyeri bado. Same Nyeri, when we go to Laikipia, they picked an independent.
Yes.
So why not Kiambu?
I'm saying it depends on
Because they know you.
It
I mean,
depends
why didn't they
on the
vote for
situation
Kabogo?
then
William,
and who they want to punish.
William, can I ask a question? Do I hear you to be saying that Uhuru Kenyatta thought you a threat? Or the people around Uhuru Kenyatta thought you a threat?
You know, people always say it's not Uhuru, it's not Uhuru. It is Uhuru. I'm telling you.
Uhuru is a good guy, but the people around him.
The people around you are the
We've
ones.
said the same thing about Moi. We said about Moi,
Let me
about
tell you,
Kibaki.
about Waitizo's time, I complained so bitterly to now the president. I tried to blame him. Now the president, then
William.
was deputy president then.
Yeah.
And he got so heated because I never hide how I feel.
Yeah,
It got so heated.
therein lies the problem.
And I told him, you have fixed me.
Okay.
Because you're the one who came to Jubilee. When things didn't work on the first day,
You came to take over.
you came to take over. And he simply told me, William, I know I can feel you. But I'm telling you, I know you know where your problems come from. I just want you to leave me alone on this matter, but I know you know. Deep down, you know. So I looked at him and I said, maybe I'm just firing. The long and short of it, I'm firing to the wrong guy.
Have you considered perhaps that this independence of yours, which is really the hallmark of what you are, is what costs you? Because politicians
So
like...
you're asking me to pretend?
No, I
And
am
be
not.
who I am not.
No. I am not. I am simply saying that it is good that you say you're not a politician, because politicians like you who comply,
Right.
not your strength. This herd mentality and going with the crowd has never been your thing, has it, William?
Never.
Okay.
But these people are your friends, Buana.
It
Tell
depends
us,
on
who
how
is
you
your
look
friend?
at it. Friends. I
Tell
was
us.
friends with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Bill is your
Okay.
friend.
You know, I was friends with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
And I thought
That he was
I
friends
was
with
his
you as
friend
well.
also. He was my friend, but I thought I was also his friend. As we speak now, I don't have, and I don't care, I don't have that medal that they gave to most governors, EGH.
Hata hiyo ulinyimwa.
Sikupata.
Surely.
It was an automatic thing. A
No,
governor
I
is
didn't get
EGH.
it. One time we went to some function somewhere and I was supposed to speak and I saw H.E. William Kabogo OGW. I saw that in, that small little white booklet, the government printer's booklet. I saw it, but I have never seen that medal.
Maybe somewhere.
And I was told at some point you need to buy
The what? Buy the medal?
Yes. And I was like, who? What? You know.
Let's take a break, William. 25 to 10. Let's
do
take
I-
a break.
Spice.
Yes, I have 20 good years of experience. And that's why I said if I was to go back to 2002, I don't think I would run for political office. No. What I know today,
Are you saying you'll never run for political
I
office
know I
again?
did say that. Once you're in it, you're in trouble. You're in
Oh,
it.
so
I'm saying if I was to start all over again,
you wouldn't.
I would live in Mombasa and stay there. And never worry about political leadership. Because it's not what it looks like from the outside.
Then this is the thing that one would hope that anybody who scans the situation and says they want to offer up themselves then for leadership, because usually we'll say that the political, you cannot run away from leadership, or you cannot run away from the political aspect of leadership, that you must have that. So when you look at a situation and you want to offer up yourself for the position, what then becomes more important? What you can do for yourself as an individual, or what you then are required to do for the people? That oftentimes, and more often, look, the people continue to get the short end of the stick. But what we're essentially saying here this morning, William, is that it's not going to change, because you continue to have leaders, we continue to put leaders in positions who are there to perpetuate a selfish act over and over and over again. It makes it look a little bit dreary in terms of a future. And so we ask ourselves the question, so then what must happen next?
If things continue the way they are today, we have a very dark future in terms of leadership. Before, you would get people voted in even if they didn't have any money. I'll give you an example. And don't ask me how much money I spend on campaigns,
Okay.
because situations are different in different types. Koigi Wamwere was elected in Subukia in 2002, and the people funded his campaign.
Yes, they did.
1 shilling, 2 shillings, 3 shillings. They contributed for fuel for Koigi Wamwere. So it is possible you can be voted by people because they want you to lead them. They know you. You have the capacity to do certain things. Then Koigi was popular because he was anti-establishment. Popular. Sonko was elected in Nairobi not because of flashing money. He was popular. I was elected in 2002. I was popular. It is possible. But over the years, like now, the cash that will be spent in 2027 in this republic,
A colossal amount.
I don't think ever anywhere in the world money has been spent the way it will be spent. And people understand now that culture. Number one, if I open my phone for you now and I show you the messages, it is about rent, it is about food. It gets to a point you get so annoyed because someone is telling you the God who gave you will take it away from you if you don't give. I have messages like that. They are forcing me now to contribute. 400 messages are on my phone on a daily basis. When did we develop and why did we develop this culture that an MP must give?
The MPs developed it.
He has no money to give.
MPs
So you
became
force him to
Robin
go and
Hood.
steal and do deals to come back to Kamokoji and
But
give
which
money.
came first, really? It was members of parliament or it was would-be leaders who said, look, how about I give you this? Essentially, an unspoken payment for your vote.
So
and then
when-
it became an expected thing that,
So
okay,
the-
if you're going to come and speak to us, then you
So,
must
so the effect of
pay
this,
for
that's what
it.
I'm saying. The effect of this, when will Kenyans understand it is not the job of an MP to give you 200?
When the members of parliament or the leaders themselves also understand the very role that they're asking Kenyans to vote them in, because I can say truly
I'll tell
that
you
there
what-
is no understanding,
I'll tell
truly,
you what
truly,
happened.
of what those positions are meant
I'll
to
tell
be.
you what happened.
Somebody sees a position, William, and says, look, I can run for this, without truly understanding the nitty-gritty of what this position
I will
is
tell
supposed
you
to
what
deliver.
happened at the risk of looking like I'm owning up to criminal activities.
Okay, here we go.
2022 elections, I decided I am not going to spend money, not a coin, to give to anyone. It was Kabogo, Afadhali Kabogo, and that was going to sell. That was going to sell. Then we had candidates dishing out unga. You know, there was some problem with unga just before the elections. Things were really getting tough. There was no unga in the market. It was getting expensive. And I went to those rallies and I gave my story. Do you want to go back to good hospitals? Do you want the county government to work for you? Do you want better roads? Do you want? Then you know who to vote. And as I would step down from the podium, I'm like, unatuacha aje wewe? Wewe unatuacha aje? Unatuacha aje?
Buddha, iko na
Vipi wewe? Unatuacha aje? Hapana. No. You know, they start shouting. I get into my car and I leave. In the car, my colleagues are telling me, Bana, you know,
Can't do that.
this thing can't work this way. I put my foot down and I said, no money, I am not going to spend money. And money was scarce too. And I do not regret having not collected money the way people do to keep it for the next election. I didn't do it. And I always say, I challenge you, get me someone who brought me a bribe when I was governor.
I'm wondering where.
Long story short,
There was like a criminal activity that you were about to confess to.
yes,
not
I'm
hearing
saying
it.
at some point, my entire team almost gave up. Say, Bwana, we cannot continue like
We
this.
have to do it.
These guys know you. You are Bwana Pesa. And there is a saying in Kikuyu that when a monkey has gotten your baby and gone up the tree with it, to make it release,
What do you give it,
you have to throw something to it.
William?
So
You threw the banana.
I had to find the banana.
But I was going to ask William, did he think that when he was MP for Juja when he was campaigning. This man introduced a concept that was hitherto unheard of.
My
A chopper.
friend.
Yes.
Yes.
My friend.
What did you think was going to be the outcome? Then,
The people of Wetaidia till today talk about
Why what?
him.
Wetaidia.
Wetaidia.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
A
Landing in a
vehicle
chopper.
that people see in movies called a Hummer. This guy comes with it. Now, what do you message do you think you're sending?
That I have money.
No,
Yes,
no. You have a lot of money.
And that you can give, and that you can
So
give.
they-
I'm
they
saying,
want some.
I risk saying some of those things. But that's how our politics, that's how our politics is. That's who we are, Kenyans, and we will be. So the noise we will make for 5 years
Doesn't matter.
will not matter on the 2nd August,
Second Tuesday of August.
2nd Tuesday of August in 2020.
So you're saying that Kenyans then don't reserve the right to complain later on?
you just tell them pigeni kelele. Lakini pale, that day, they will do something else. Strange. Very strange.
Yeah, after which then they actually have no right to complain because you've done this. It's that Robin Hood mentality. What's the genesis of it? Because people are looking at you and thinking, I am giving you an opportunity to go out there, to go up there where, the entire beehive is. And you'll sit there and you'll eat the honey. So you've got to leave me something here. And when you're coming back, you're like, sasa basi umekula hiyo asali, zikuja at least na kasali kidogo, mkebe moja. You've got to go and fight with the bees to bring the honey.
When I
that's
sit in
what
my
we
car
think.
as I come here and I start reading those messages, start coming in even as early as 5. They think the earlier one will catch your attention.
Yeah.
I continue sending back messages. Why do you expect me to give you 2,000 shillings? Do you imagine how many people ask me for 2,000 shillings? What is 2,000 by 400?
What is it?
It's 80,000.
No.
No.
800,000.
800,000. Huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
800.
This,
Yes.
in the morning. And I'm telling you, even if I was Kenyatta Uhuru, I would not sustain giving everybody 2,000-3,000 shillings.
Every day.
It is not possible. But they still think I should, and they have a right to ask me to send them money.
Itaka harambe, you send today.
And some
They
of
have
them
sent to
ask
many.
you,
To
some of
many, yes,
them
no, you're
ask
not the only one.
some of them ask you on WhatsApp. And she says she's a lady from Mombasa. She's in college and she has no fees.
Yes.
And a beautiful lady too. You understand? So you
Can see
look
your
at the
dilemma.
message, you look at the message and the person, and I'm like, Apana, in the game, in the con. In the con. So what do you do?
catfish.
First try and send a video call. They will never pick because it is not who they are.
Catfish.
Kenyans have become con.
William, members of parliament
I'm telling you.
or aspiring politicians cannot escape from the blame that justifiably is theirs because they played a very interesting part. See, sometimes people set things in motion and don't look at the outcome. I know, for instance, in Luo Nyanza, where I come from, I saw the genesis of this. It came during the Kanu era. Money for elections became a thing in the Kanu era, in the Moi era. Kanu era of Jomo Kenyatta, that guy, I don't think money ever left his hands. But in the Moi era, it did.
Yes.
You are not allowed to hold harambes or you're not allowed to hold meetings. So what politicians would do in that part of the world is they come to funerals. And funerals, you're allowed to speak. And because the people who were in Kanu had money, they had a term, it was called taxpayer.
Yes.
And they would say, these people have Kanu money. It is your money, which you pay for tax, which they have brought. So it's not their own. So when they give you, take it.
It is kind of money.
Take it. It doesn't matter how it. Now, you see,
It is your money.
it is your money you're taking. So people who had hitherto not been accustomed to receiving money, you gave them the free pass. They now realize, we can receive money.
It's dividends.
It's dividend. Now, how quickly do you think it becomes habit when it is free money? You're just being given.
Yeah.
You're not looking for it. People talk to you, they give you money.
So in actual sense, what they're asking us to give them is what they know is their money.
Precisely.
That's
You
exactly
understand?
it.
You've got it.
So, and then look at it from the other side. they know that I am stealing.
Yes.
They want to collect the money from me.
Which you
then
stole-
when I get arrested, they are saying hang him.
Yes. Essentially, you should
Hang him, and yet they collect the money from you.
No. If you share it nicely, they will come to your aid. They will demonstrate. They'll say, "Why are you vilifying us?"
So
Our
why
guy.
is it? Why is it?
if you
that-
eat alone,
yes, why is it that they don't allow you to do your work and they benefit from infrastructure? They benefit from opportunities. Like I started in Kiambu, the Biashara Fund.
because
You
people,
know what is being done now with
Hustler
Hustler
Funds.
Fund? I started it then.
William, had the Kibaki term been a one-term government, we would not have seen what Kibaki could do.
Right.
Had you had 2 terms,
That's what I'm saying.
then, because there is no way you can do anything meaningful in 1 term. It is not possible. You can try, but just when you're beginning to launch and the thing is beginning to catch, you've already set the structure, it's in place, and now you're moving, the term comes to an end. You see? Now, why your story is believable about the interference, had that worked in 2 terms, what do you think the message would have been? Because Kiambu is just here.
That it is possible to do it, and we can allow you to do for Kenya if you did it for Kenya.
Precisely. Precisely.
Yes.
so those who are fighting him, then were they fighting him so that they do it themselves?
No. No.
Not that they do
The
it, but
real
that he
threat
does
to our
not.
politics is somebody who can actually do what needs to be done. That is the real threat.
Or can do a
All
better
the-
job than you.
Yes, somebody who will actually get to work and actually improve things. Because the moment you do that, then everyone who preceded you will be seen for the charlatans they are. Now that is something far more fearful than anything you can think of.
Sure.
Because people will see you. The question will be, but so-and-so has done it. Why are you telling us it can't be done? You see, the power of example is something you cannot compete with. And that is why Kibaki is still on our lips and we keep talking of Kibaki. Because the things that people thought could not be done, we saw them happening. Me, I have my favorite stories of things which I thought I would never see in my lifetime. I saw.
People talked about them after he left office or towards the tail end of his term,
They did.
right?
They did.
In the first 5 years, it was all kind of vitriol.
Remember, he was very sick.
Oh, yes.
Probably the first 2 years of his term.
But even in that sickness, the foundations were being laid then. So when we started seeing things in 2009, 2010, 2011, it's from the foundations that have been laid.
Yes, it is true. But you see, Kibaki didn't speak. Did he stop doing what he was doing?
No.
he did.
The noise, did it cease? No. He continued. That was the point. He didn't pay heed. He knew what needed to be done. He focused on it. And we know because the first 5 years of Uhuru were because of what Kibaki did. Yes, he entered a cushy job. Things had been done.
So and
Things
then
were
the
okay.
next 5 years of Uhuru,
They had done enough damage.
William, I've got to ask you this question.
Yes.
You mentioned your discomfort
Yes.
with the forays and meetings by the deputy president in Mount Kenya, and you're saying we shouldn't really be focusing on this now. But it's a conversation that's
Why does he feel he needs to have a base now?
Why not?
But I mean, it's not an issue of chicken and egg here. Why does he feel threatened? What's the problem? He is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. If we go by the old days, 80 provinces. So what's his business in central Kenya?
Uniting the people,
Who said
Uniting
we are
the
not
base.
united? Who said we are not united?
bringing the 13% that did not vote for William Ruto to see.
Under
There
one
is
umbrella.
no way you will be voted by 100. Something must be very wrong with that society. There is no way. Even if he does elections again, he will not get 67. Let's just know that that's the truth and move on.
William, have you never participated in any conversation about, Mount Kenya unity? Never. Not
I have.
Limuru,
I have.
not
Right
the
now,
Limuru
I want to
meetings.
start one here.
Okay.
That one man, one vote is necessary. It's not about the Mount Kenya person. It's about Kenyan representation. No taxation without representation. That is the first thing about the job of an MP, is to go out there and represent you as you are taxed. Why would Ijara, with 5,000 votes, vote in parliament with Kengara, who has 200,000 votes in Githurai? What equality is there? You understand what I'm saying?
No.
It's not about the Kikuyu. It's about densely populated places like Nakuru. Why is it, let's look at the national cake, the way it's split to counties. The most needed functions are devolved. Health, water, roads, all this agriculture,
food.
right? If you go to health, it's about medicine, Medicare, hospitals, etc.
Okay.
The more the people, the more medicine you need.
Yeah.
Isn't it obvious? So when you give a budget to Garissa, 150 million for health and 150 million for health in Kiambu, what are you talking about? When you give Mombasa 3.5 billion for devolution, and yet their personal wage bill is 3 billion in a year, how do you expect them to survive? In Nyeri, for example. Remember, we were campaigning about getting a fund that was called Holding Harmless, was to help those counties. And then there was an equalization fund because people were marginalized. Does it mean if you are marginalized then, you must marginalize others? This is not about the Kikuyu nation.
So what's the solution?
The solution is to look at Kenya
split Kiambu, for example,
equitably,
into more counties?
equitable distribution of resources.
But you still want Kiambu to remain with the 1 million voters.
Well, if you split it, it will not have 1 million voters.
Okay. So
Yes.
are you advocating for a split of
It
Kiambu?
should. We must find a way. Why is it that all constituencies in the Republic are given 130 million for CTF?
Because and so you're saying
It's just 130 every
it's a sum and everybody gets
regardless
it.
of the number.
But what you're saying is that it should be formulaic in nature, where then you work with the numbers that you
It
have.
should be equitable. It should be
It should be
equitable.
representative.
Yes, it
Of
should be
what?
equitable.
Of the people?
Yes, of the numbers
Or
of
of
the
the
numbers
needs.
of the people.
of the numbers of people, because the need is
Ni
with the people.
huduma kwa jamii. Jamii si wanyama.
Jamii ni watu.
Jamii ni watu.
Yeah.
Watu ndio wako na
How many
wanyama.
schools does Ijara have? Are they enough for the current population? How many schools what did you give us an example, Githurai have? Are they enough for the population? And so on and so forth.
That's it. Are the resources there to make Githurai have schools?
But
No
he's
way.
not saying reduce the Jara
You know
share.
Mweki Primary? Mweki Primary in Githurai
Yes.
has, I think, 12 or 14 streams.
Yep.
A class has 150 kids. The ratio of teacher to students is 1 to 150. The school is in a compound of half an acre or thereabout with 4,000 kids. How fair can we be? But when you start talking like that, other people want to make it political. They want to say, no, you're speaking
tribal.
siasa ya tribe.
You see what I was saying?
The siasa of tribe is the one that we are talking about. When you have issues, you want to run to the mountain. Like Kenyatta would go and do Sagana. Do you understand?
So that should not be the focus.
That's not the focus.
How about if they meet and they advocate for one man, one vote, one
That's
shilling?
okay. I mean, it's their right. Like now, you see, we are talking here in the whole country about picketing, a right that is enshrined in the Constitution. Kalonzo Musyoka will read it the way he wants. Raila Odinga will read it. But just open. Is it Section 67? Just read what it says.
The word is the same. The wording is the same.
There is one thing they never talk about. Unarmed. Unarmed.
William.
As long as you're unarmed and you're picketing, it is fine. But when you have slings,
That's
Then there's a problem.
it's unarmed.
William Kabogo, thank you for joining us. Come again soon.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure always to.
Thank you for tuning
I
in
hope
to
I didn't
Kenya's
get into
biggest
any trouble
conversation.
today.
We hope you didn't get you into any trouble, but all right, you'll survive. It's 10 a.m. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.